Hello and welcome. Thank you for joining me. I'm Jessica Woods, Energy Intuitive, and today I want to talk to you about lies, lying. So, no one likes it when we lie. We either get caught out, and particularly I'm thinking of when we were children, we may get caught out, may tell a little white lie, and mum says or dad says, no, that's not quite true. You haven't done what you were supposed to do, for example. So it's easy to get caught out when we tell a lie, and we look at it from that perspective, don't we? We say, okay, so I've told a lie. Am I going to get away with it? Am I going to be be able to pull this off? And sometimes what happens is, I think that if we do pull it off, we can get into this pattern of not even realizing that we're lying. We know that we are, but we just see it as it's okay. It's okay to lie. It's okay to tell white lies, because obviously, if we were told the truth, it may be really, it could hurt someone. So I think, to put lies into perspective, there are reasons why we do tell lies, and it quite often is to, what we feel, protect somebody else from something negative that we may be pushing upon them or thinking about them. And so that's one way of looking at it. What also happens is that if we tell these little white lies, they can become like, oh, okay, I've got away with this. It's normal. It's okay. It didn't hurt anybody. So we can tend to continue these patterns of lying. And what actually is happening is that we build this kind of reality that we believe it's okay, and this is the way it's meant to be. But actually what happens is that on another level, on a frequency level, people pick up on the fact that you're lying. They might not be able to prove it in that moment, but it could come across as being mistrust or not wanting to hang around with you anymore, because it's not quite true. You don't really know where you stand with somebody who's lying. And when it becomes that unconscious, almost that they do it automatically, they've got so deep in that they lie to themselves that they actually end up believing it. So that's another example of where and how we lie, and it can become autonomous and actually not resonate who we truly are. But when we are somebody who's really honest with ourselves, we also have the other conflict is, should I be honest? Should I tell the truth? Because if I do, will I upset someone? Will I hurt them if I say those things? So I think the way to look at it is that there can always be another approach to it. And I want to talk about something that I think really puts it into perspective. And it goes like this. So if you think about it, if you think of, there's the divine self, there's us, our physical self. And when we're emanating that pureness, that truth, and we're speaking the truth and we're sharing that with others, we come across as being very authentic, very transparent. We've got nothing to hide. We are just what we are. And that's when we're in that divine alignment, because we're just being truthfully and honestly. And I call it the wise mind, where we're just being in the wise mind. We're just, allowing ourselves to be who we are, with no branding as such, no overlay, no protective wrongs or rights. We're just being pure source. We're just being pure to ourselves. And then on the other hand, we've got the emotional self, which, let's put the emotional selves here. And that emotional self is feeling things like, oh, if I say that, it's going to feel really uncomfortable. Now I've already told one lie, so now I've got to tell another one, and I've got to, try and remember all of this. And there's a lot of pressure and a lot of energy. And as I said, people are picking up on that, whether you're consciously aware of it or not. They are picking up that there's something that's not right here. We all know it. You can talk to anyone, and there's something you just say, something about that person. I'm just not really sure how I'm connecting with them. I'm not sure how clear they're being. So there's the emotional side. And then on the other side is the of the mind is the mental mind, the logical, analytical, which says, oh, you mustn't say that, it's that inner critic as well. It's, I mustn't really say that. If I say that, then, maybe I'll get it wrong. And then it just gets very deliberating, because it tends to pull us down. We overthink things. We, rather than being in the truth in the moment and expressing who we are, we tend to like, oh, well, if I tell them that lie, and I've got to remember that, and there's all this stuff that's going on. It gets really phonetic, really confusing. But that's how most of us have been walking around in this life, is using all these different aspects of self, so to speak, the emotional mind, the mental mind, and the wise mind, when we can stop long enough to connect to it. So as humans, we've been operating from these two systems for a long, long time, let's just say. And lies turn us into these feelings of being deceitful. So the emotional mind, I feel now to feel deceitful, and then the head that says, perhaps I shouldn't have said that. And it's just a lot of wasted energy. You're giving off like these frequencies of, I don't trust myself, and so, and I'm lying to someone, I'm not telling them the truth, so I'm not really being authentic. So you've got this whole energy that's kind of like giving off the whole time, which is draining, which means you're not being authentic. And it also means, most importantly, you're not listening to yourself. You're not in alignment with your divine self, because quite frankly, if you were, your divine self would have no need for lying. It would have no need to protect yourself or defend yourself or try and convince somebody else that they're wrong, or that, just that nobody likes it. You don't like it, do you? I don't like it when people are being untruthful. And I have this kind of thing with my partner, that he'll say to me, look, I just want to say something. And he will just say, you could do this better. This could be better. And I'm like, good. I'm so glad you said that, because what it means is I can learn from it. I'll grow from this, and I will do better at it. I'll be better at doing me. I'll be more authentic. I'll be more of who I am. And he'll say that to me, and I love it, because I grow from it. But sometimes, if we're still in the emotional mind, if somebody says something, we can say, well, I don't want to hear that. That's really negative. You're just saying that. And then we deflect it. We try and deflect it back and blame somebody else. It's like, oh, well, you did say that. If you hadn't said that, I'm not good enough. And the other person be saying, well, I didn't actually say that. I was just trying to point out. So I recognize how difficult it can be to be honest and in alignment. And if you're trying to do it from the emotional mind, where it's like, I feel this and I heard that and she said this and it made me feel like that. If we take on that kind of defensive energy when somebody is communicating us and when we are communicating with someone else, then that's the way it's going to be. If we do it from the mental mind, where it's like, oh, I wish she hadn't have said that, or wish he hadn't have said that. It makes me feel really bad, and he's wrong. And how does he know he's not living my life? This is where all these like indiscrepancies and problems occur between communicating with each other. So, but we must remember we've got a wise mind or a higher mind or a divine mind. You call it what you like. But when we're operating from that place, we literally can stay out of the two other energies and areas which are in conflict at times, or can be, and take things personally, and and all of that sort of thing, and stay in this space where, when we get used to it, even just intending to be connected to that wise mind can help us be that transparent, honest, open person. And then from that space, I know this sounds a bit crazy, but you're not drawn into that other energy, that push, pull, tugging energy that is so draining. We just make a comment, stick with it, because we believe it to be true. And we are speaking our truth from our heart through this wise mind that says, it's okay, this is who you really are, and not reacting. You don't react in this space to the other frequencies that can pull you all over the place. You just stay aligned to your truth. And it's not about someone else being wrong. It's not about you being right. It's just being and speaking and being your truth and being transparent. So I would encourage you to think about where you're operating from. It's not just the words or the language that you use. It's not just the deeds that you do for someone. It is way more than that. It's like, get in alignment first. If you've got something to express or say to someone, get into this state first by just calling upon, having an intention and calling upon that divine self, and get a feel for it. It's a very open space. It's just a place where you can fully be yourself. And then and get into this space, and then intuitively even being able to just express who you are, and then you don't move. It's not about anyone being wrong or right, about you being wrong or right. It's just you stay in that space, and it can be totally liberating. And from this space, if you can actually tune into a question before you reply to somebody, or if you're going to ask somebody something about themselves, and you feel it could be a touchy subject, this will just get into that space and say, how would I say it from my divine self? What would my wise mind say about this? And this keeps us balanced and harmonious. And then we're able to love more, share more, or be true to each other without these false, and they are false, they're false patterns that we've built up, false thoughts that we've been building up, and we've been using them without even realizing that we're using them to justify who we are, protect ourselves, defend ourselves. We don't need to do that anymore. We're allowing the wise mind, which is all-knowing, which will respond in a loving, neutral way, let's just say, without overreacting, without overthinking. And then this way we are centered, what's the word, conscious beings, recognizing that we are the oneness. And that's what I love about it. So give this a go. If this has been helpful, please give some feedback and comments and anything else that you want to know. So thank you so much for being here. Bless you.